welcome back to a new watercolour video. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I really fancied having a play around with some Neocolor IIs, which are such a lovely art supply. If you've never seen them before, they're a wax pastel, like a crayon, but just like a watercolour pencil. These like watercolour crayons. So when you add water, they dissolve into paint. So I just recently got these special edition sets, and I've got this really old set that I've had for a long time. Yeah, and so I want to play around with those some more. I'm going to create some patterns. So if you want to follow along, I'm just going to do it in the sketchbook and just basically have some fun. I've picked out these paintbrushes because they're quite firm. So I've got a Filbert, which is curved at the end. It's like flat and curved at the end like this, but they're very firm, so it'll be good for agitating the colour when I add the water. And then also this is like a long flat, very firm. And then I've just got a little size 0 round brush in case I want to do any details. This is also very useful, the Caran palette. So this works brilliant with the Neocolor IIs. And then I've just got out some metallic coloured paints. I really fancied doing something like little squares, different coloured squares. I was making some collage papers the other day and I was just painting these squares and they looked really nice. So hopefully I can come up with some nice ideas, and you can paint along if you want to.
Canceled our trip.
Okay, so I'm just gonna basically start just drawing out some squares. Nothing too accurate. Okay, so I've coloured them all in. I do want them to be a little bit lighter than that, and I think they will go a little bit lighter. So now I've got this little brush, and I'm just gonna activate all the paint. Look how beautiful it is. It's so nice. And it works really well with this sketchbook paper. This is the Art Creations sketchbook. So I'm making sure I don't have too much water on the brush. And I think if they blend a little bit at the edges, I think that's going to look nice. This is just super easy, super relaxing, loads of fun, and I think it's going to look pretty nice when it's finished. Okay, so that's it dry. It's looking really nice. I really like it. So now I'm going to add some details. I'm going to use the Fool's Gold. I'm going to pick out a colour, and I think I'm going to go with the salmon colour. And I'm going to wet the whole of the square. Get a little bit of gold and put it around the edges. Bit more water, and then just kind of have a blend from the outside. Okay, next I'm gonna go around the outside of some of the squares so they've got a thin gold line around the outside, and I'm going to do that with this liner tool. I think it's called a line maker tool. You can get them on Amazon and AliExpress. So I'm just going to pour paint in to this, and I think I'll do the pink, all the pink ones. Just get it going on a scrap of paper. What I've found is this particular tool, if I do this on top of watercolour paint, it spreads out everywhere, but it stays in a nice thin line when I do it on Neocolor II. I'm going to very carefully go around the outside and just create a gold border. And there we go, that's pattern one. I think it looks lovely. It does look a lot nicer in real life than it does on camera. So I've drew some tree shapes at the bottom and some raindrops. I'm going to try and make like a kind of cloudy sky with colourful raindrops and colourful trees. So I've picked some colours out. For the sky I'm going to use blacks, greys and whites, and then I thought these colours for the houses and the raindrops. So I'm going to have to put the colour down around the raindrops first of all and put the background in first. I'm going to try and make it darker towards the top, so I'm going to get some black in there. And I'm going to put quite a lot down because I want it to be really painterly looking and, you know, almost like gouache when I activate it with water. Okay, so I've activated that in a kind of circular motion, so it gives a little bit of impression of clouds. But I want it to be a little bit lighter than that. It's a bit dark, so I'm going to add some more white. I don't think I'm going to activate this. I'm just going to lighten the whole thing up with the dry crayon. Okay, I've added a bit more texture to the background, and now I'm going to colour in the raindrops. I'm just going to do them all different colours. It's looking a bit scruffy right now, but hopefully it'll be really nice in the end. And then I'm going to colour the trees. I'm also going to add white to these. I'm switching to the little tiny brush to do the raindrops. So I'm putting some white on the palette to do some smaller detail. I'm going to use the little tiny brush. I'm going to go around the outside of the raindrops and then blend it in a little bit. I just want them to be much lighter than they are.
I never opened the envelope. But your testimony is you arranged a homicide and didn't even know what the pay was going to be. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So the next morning, Charlie says the money's in your trunk.
So now I'm making some little white raindrops, just tiny little ones. I'm using a dotting tool and then I'm just pressing it down and then flicking upwards. So a little circle. I'm just going over these ones because they're very, very faint. You might have to go over them a couple of times because it dries a lot lighter, just like white gouache. Now I'm creating some golden raindrops. So I'm using this tool again. I'm putting a dot of gold and then I'm using a small end of this dotting tool and I'm dragging that upwards to make a nice raindrop shape. And now I'm outlining the trees with the gold and then adding some tree branches.
Okay, thank you. So on this day, so on March 4th of 2014, was there a text message in the records where Donna Adelson asked Charlie Adelson to arrive?
Okay, so that's picture number 2. I'm actually quite pleased with that one. I think I'd like to do something similar to this, only with houses at the bottom. It's all rainy outside. I'm getting autumn vibes. I went for a beautiful walk the other day. I saw the most amazing, absolute sea of wildflowers. I'll insert the clips here. I know that a lot of you miss my little vloggy bit, so I'll insert this beautiful walk that I went on the other day. But it looks like summer's now over because it's absolutely pouring down outside.
I just wanna go out and walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out and walk with you. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over pavement with our two wild ones. I like to see the shape you're in from time to time. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine. I just wanna see the same things you can see, understand the meaning on a new degree. Maybe that could happen when you're next to me. I just wanna see the same things you can see. I just wanna go out on a walk with you. Could be 20 minutes or an hour or two. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. I just wanna go out on a walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk.
Okay, so I'm going to pick out some colours. So far today I've only used out of this older one, but I'm going to try and use some of these new colours. I think I'll do a pink sky, so I'm going to get the pink and the white, and maybe this lighter pink. A couple of greys. I'm not going to use black in this one because I think the previous one was a little bit too dark. And then I want some coloured houses, so I'll go with this apricot, light olive, Tyrian pink, Skagen blue, and light wine leaves. So I'm just going to draw out some little houses and some trees across the bottom. I'm going to use the Filbert brush this time, and I'm going to try and activate it in little downstrokes like this. I'm just still kind of working my way around Neocolor II and trying to work out how it's best to use it, you know, how much water to use, how much colour to put down. Try and work out what's going to go over the top of it, because the white Neocolor II doesn't really go over the top well, but I think I might get out the new Neocolor, is it Neocolor? I think it's 6901, something like that. That white goes over the top really well, but it's not water soluble. But I think I will get that out to do some white marks. Oh, can you hear that rain?
p.m. He makes an outgoing call to Save Gas or Hybrid Rental, another rental car agent. 15 p.m. is the timeout for this vehicle. We see that they rented the Toyota Prius.
Okay.
And at 6:36 p.m. there is a 10-minute phone call between. It is 8:06 p.m. We see the call from Harvey Adelson to the Adelson residence. Attempts to reach each other ended at 9:30. And we can see that beginning at 9:30, Mr. Garcia's cell site locations will be consistent with the area of Ms. McManama's residence. As we continue kind of up through this map, we can see they reach the Tallahassee area in the early morning hours of the 17th.
Now on the 17th, are they ever?
So I've coloured all the houses in the colours that they're going to be. And now I'm just adding a little bit of shading. Some shaded areas. I'm trying not to go right down to the bottom. I'm leaving a gap so that I can add some kind of ground at the bottom. And then I'm getting this really dark grey colour, Payne's grey, and I'm going to try and make some kind of, I'm going to try and make these look a little bit like fir trees. So just kind of give them a little bit of a jaggedy edge. Now for the final touches, I'm going to add some rain. I'm going to add some grey raindrops and some white raindrops. I'm going to try with the little brush. It's a bit awkward with the dot and tail. The dot and tail is much better for gold paint. And I'm also doing the raindrops on the houses. I'm doing the white ones with white gouache because that Neocolor isn't strong enough. Next I'm going to do some little lines of rain, so I'm using a really flat brush like this, and I'm going to get some gouache on the edge and then just do lots of little lines. Maybe just add some little white highlights just to the edges of some of the roofs. And I think I'll leave it there. Okay, so there we go. So 3 little pictures, which I'm quite pleased with. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope you painted along or you've just enjoyed watching the video, and thank you very much for watching.